Alright guys, so in today's video I'm going to give you guys my one ICT setup for life and how I use this type of concept to go ahead and get 600K in funding in pretty much the last week. So before I actually go ahead and start this, right, let me go actually show you guys the proof of the 600K in funding that I recently just achieved. And if you guys already follow me on Twitter, you've probably already seen the post, or if you're in my public Telegram, link in the description below, you would have seen it already as well. But let me go ahead just for completeness sake for YouTube and just kind of show you guys right now. All right, guys. So this was a post here on Twitter, and I did also show you like this is the first week that I kind of traded 300K. This is actually so I actually took another trade as I'm going to show you guys on my Forex funds, and so the profit for the week was about over $10,000 in total. But again, just to go show you guys, this was a 100K challenge funded account, as you can see on the top where it says standard funded. Also, my FTMO account, this is also live, currently up profit on this. And my 300K actually just got in today, which is Friday. And then obviously I'm going to show you guys right here. So this was me passing phase 2, and then the current live account, as you guys are going to see, I believe it's this one right here. Right now, currently up 1% on a trade that I called out in the chat that I'm going to actually go over in this example for this presentation. So on $CAD. But nonetheless, now that that's kind of out the way, let's go ahead and let's get into the presentation of exactly if I had to choose one ICT setup that I would trade for life, what would it be? All right, so let's go ahead and I'm going to first break down all the different things that we're going to be talking about in this presentation so you guys can have a feeling and understanding of what we're going to be talking about. So number one, we're going to talk about power of three, understanding that concept. It's very important to utilize this concept with the trade idea that I'm going to show you guys. Now, also, it's very important to understand structural legs, impulse moves, a little bit of market structure, so you can kind of couple the two as well. Kill zones. Kill zones is very, very important for me specifically. Again, I don't know how other people trade, but for me and using ICT concepts and smart money concepts, I need kill zones as they just offer a lot. They offer a lot better in terms of business hours where you can kind of trade during specific times of days and specific times throughout the day, as well as kind of having a very set time when you can expect volume or specific moves. So kill zones for me also very important because it also helps kind of trying to identify when that specific move may happen. Also, we're going to go over the entry techniques and whether someone can use a confirmation or just buy a specific level right away. We're going to get into all of that in today's video. So obviously, as you guys know, I have to go over the quick promos that we have with SFT. I manage my $600,000 in current capital, as well as a few other challenges I'm currently doing, about 500K with my SFT account. I use Think Markets, which is a new broker that we've recently integrated, as it does have raw spreads and the execution is very, very good on it, especially if you're trading pairs like EU, dollar, yen, where the spreads are pretty much zero. So the code does expire July 31st, so I did want to bring this up real quick. 15% off, 85% profit split, and 115% refund. So take advantage. The promo code is right here, Think15. And also, if you guys are interested, and let me move this so you guys can kind of see the full promo. If you guys are interested, 40% off on all the accounts from 5,000 to 25K accounts. So if you're someone who's trading within that range, this may be a better code for you. Use promo code SFT Community and you will get that coupon code. And again, this does end July 31st, so take advantage. So now that that's out of the way, let's go ahead and let's talk about Power 3 concepts. So understanding Power 3, it's very important where let me go ahead and talk about it first from a daily perspective. So assuming this is a daily candle, right? We have the opening price, we have the closing price. If this is a bullish day, we have the low and we have the high. Now, understanding the anatomy of a daily candle is very, very important because if we understand that we're expecting maybe a potential upside move, there's a potential draw on liquidity, there's some sort of equal highs, maybe an imbalance that we're targeting, It's very simple to the point where it's like we're just looking to buy beneath the true opening price of the day, which is 12 a.m. Eastern time. So the goal is to kind of buy below the opening price, and it's just keeping it very simple. It really, ideally, again, this is going to drop into a very specific level as we talked about here. If you guys watch one of my prior videos, we referenced this, and I'm just going to go into a lot more detail on it today and how we can utilize it in a specific strategy. Now, understanding the anatomy of Power 3. So, right now, let's just say we have the Asian session range. This Asian session range pretty much starts from around the rollover price. The Asian session range essentially starts from the 5 p.m. Eastern time going into about midnight. Now, 12 a.m. Eastern time is what we would consider the true open, which is essentially the opening price for the quote unquote algorithm. Now, the whole point of this is that if we're bullish on a specific day and we're trying to anticipate that low of that daily candle, ideally we have some sort of drop below that 12 a.m. Eastern time price. Now, ideally, and you guys are going to see where I'm going to go with this. This is just implementing a bunch of concepts together, but when we have a drop into a very key reference point inside of a structural swing, it really gives a lot of confluence that that might be a very good level to play, especially if you know that on the higher time frame, there's a very high chance that the market is kind of going in a directional bias. Now, let's just assume that we have this concept in here, right? In terms of the Asian session range, we have consolidation, then we have a move below the 12 a.m. Eastern time opening price. Now, we have a swing low to swing high. Let's just assume this fractal is right here. So if we have a very strong impulse move, and this impulse move, let's just say it clears some sort of liquidity. Let's just say this was a bounce off of a key reference point on a higher time frame, and we created an imbalance point as well. When we have this type of drop inside of that level in terms of a key structural move, it gives us more confluence that this drop in here is the quote unquote manipulation move into a key level. What happens in this scenario, people are getting trapped short, people are piling in short into a support level, if you want to call it like that. And then what happens is you'll typically see a very strong reversal off that level. This is essentially, now let's go ahead and incorporate the kill zones. The kill zones is very, very important for me, again, because you can anticipate volume coming in during that time. Plus, it's just an added confluence as well that the level may actually go ahead and hold if we're hitting that level with these parameters in mind. So typically, London kill zone. For me, obviously, people consider London kill zone more like 2 to 4. However, I ideally want to see 3 to 4 a.m. Eastern time is when price hits that specific level. Now, I also put in here the New York kill zone because sometimes we might just consolidate in London session, and then New York session is going to be where the move happens and the drop. Let's just say in this for this example, the drop is going to be in the New York session, and that for me ideally is 8 to 9 a.m. Eastern time. We see that drop into that very key level. Now, what's very important to understand as well is utilizing the times is going to make your trading a lot easier because you can anticipate moves in specific pockets of time. Forex being open 24 hours can be a mess sometimes if you're not abiding by specific hours throughout the day that you're going to be trading, like kind of like your business hours. So kill zones help in that facet because now you're able to focus on a pocket of time and you're not watching the charts 24/7. So the keys to the setup, right? Again, higher time frame is key. All of these intraday setups do not matter if you don't have a good understanding of higher time frame bias. If you guys want to check it out, I do have a few videos on my channel in terms of bias, so make sure to check that out. Also, once the directional bias is formed on the weekly, daily, 4 hour, let's just say we're bullish, we have a very clear objective, the market has a potential liquidity pool to raid, whatever it may be, we look for a clear directional impulse that either clear liquidity or form at a strong reference point, as I just mentioned in about like 2 slides ago. We then look for a retracement into a key level, such as an imbalance during a kill zone. Ideally, we have a tight Asian range and consolidation. Very important because, again, we want to have that accumulation, manipulation move, and then distribution to the upside. When we incorporate that concept with Power 3, as well as market structure concepts, as well as having it within a kill zone, we have a bunch of different confluences in our favor when placing a trade. So let's go ahead and we're going to look inside dollar CAD example from this week. And again, if you guys want to see my weekly trade ideas, and again, this was called before the fact inside of my public Telegram. Link is in the description below. Make sure to check that out. And let's get into the charts. All right, guys. So before I go ahead and break things down, again, this is just a public Telegram. Link in the description below, just to show that this was called, in fact, this was called out before the fact. Again, I just like to use examples that were called beforehand, just because I feel like I've talked about it before, but I just feel like it just adds a little bit more authenticity, and it also just makes the lesson hit harder on why a person was looking for a specific move they called before the fact. So again, I'm going to put the description if you want to join. It's public, it's free. I post throughout the week video breakdowns as well. So if you want to get that insight, just join the public Telegram. Now let's go ahead and let's talk about the dollar CAD. So on this specific day, this was on Friday, I was looking for this potential move in here for a bounce. Now, again, I was talking about dollar CAD being in the consolidation. However, we were starting to see impulse pushes up, drop for a full retracement leg, and we just started to see higher highs, higher lows. Right here, what do we have here? We have the market taking out a liquidity pool in this prior low, and then we have an expansion move up. And we also had, when we zoom out, going into the daily time frame, price was already taking out a liquidity pool here. And on the weekly, again, I talked about this multiple times, we were at a very key level and we looked like we were accumulating. So that's why I was kind of anticipating a potential squeeze on dollar CAD. And it actually looks like we're going to go higher into next week, but I'll post that in my public Telegram. We also had this move lower, which formed a swing low, which ultimately we failed to kind of push lower. So typically, for me, this is a sign of accumulation. The market is having an unwillingness to go lower after clearing liquidity. So when we put that all together, and then we have a liquidity pool raid, market structure break to the upside, price has an imbalance point. Now I have my framework. We have a bunch of liquidity to the upside. We have these equal highs, which also leads us to this imbalance point above here. So again, with all this in mind, understanding the structural components to it, also understanding where liquidity is resting, also the higher time frame where we are relative to higher time frame context, this gives me kind of cadence to understand, hey, you know what, this is going to be a potential level on an impulse move up, higher time frame looking bullish for those reasons. Now I'm going to look for a potential buy. So let's go ahead. I'm going to sync this into the chart, and then we're going to go and show the lower time frame. Now look, this is everything I look for in a trade. So I'm going to put on my session times, which this session time is from 7 o'clock to 10 o'clock, which is the New York session. And we're going to see what happens inside the 8 to 9 o'clock time frame. So I'm actually going to just adjust it just so that we can go ahead and see exactly what happens during this time, which is exactly why I really need to see these components. So we have the Asian session range in here. This is the Asian session range. Now, price, and this is why I say sometimes London session, we're going to just consolidate going into London. So we see consolidation from here to here. And then inside the New York session is when we hit that drop into that 4-hour imbalance. What's also interesting about this is if you see this swing point here from the last impulse low that made a new high, you're going to see this was also an OTE, which lined up with that 4-hour time frame. So this is our impulse move. We have the consolidation in Asia. We have price drop into a key level, and then we start to head higher. So think of it from this perspective. We are now inside everything that we were talking about in the presentation applied on this specific setup. We had our consolidation, and if we look at our true open at the 12 a.m. opening price, right, 12 a.m. right here, that was our opening price. We see a move below it. So if we see a move below the opening price, we see the move below the Asian session low, inside of a kill zone, inside of an overall impulse move with the bias being higher. There's so much confluence in that event. Now, theoretically, you could either just buy straight down here when the market's kind of coming into that OTE on the 1-hour time frame. So again, if you wanted to buy right there, that was something that you could have done. Or if you're someone who wants a little bit more confirmation, This is my favorite one. I have a video talking about high probability market structure breaks on the channel, but if we have this type of break above a prior high with a bearish imbalance being overtaken by a bullish one, bounce price range, this is typically a very strong confirmation entry. So again, there was one that you could either just buy it straight down there because the confluence, there's a lot of confluence. The kill zones was on point. Everything in terms of structure and higher time frame bias was on point. That's typically when I'll just go ahead and buy it with a wider stop. And then you could even look to add on a confirmation on this example right here. So again, this is just, if I had to choose one ICT concept, even though there's a bunch of them right here, this is my trading model that I would pretty much use day in, day out, because it's just my favorite. It has so much confluences. You're using accumulation, manipulation, distribution, you're using power three, kill zone, structure, everything coming into play for the highest amount of confluence. So let me know what you guys think of this video. Let me know if you have any questions in the description below. Also, again, guys, join the public Telegram, as I will update this USD CAD trade that I'm looking for during the week. And again, if you guys want to go ahead and connect with me on Instagram and Twitter, link is in the description below. Also, if you're looking to get a funded account, take advantage. July 31st is when those current promos are going to be over. And if you want to stay updated with SFT, make sure to join the SFT Discord, which is also in the link in the description. And until next time, I'll see you guys in the next video.